welcome back everyone, welcome back to another season, another edition here of the StarCraft Evolution League Season 2 Championship Round of 16 Group A. I'm of course VIP with you and joined by these amazing players, by the Boom Chats, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to the beginning of something special here. Now once again, I do apologize for not being able to cover the round of 28. There was a previous group stage to this one which we were not able to cover. That was last week, as our week schedule was very busy, very intense, and I just didn't have the time or the free slots available to cover the round of 28. But we're at least here with the full round of 16. Let's go. Let us go. Once again, this is going to be a replay broadcast as well, as this event did take place over the weekend, or at least the round of 16 was over the weekend, so we are here to catch up on the round of 16. The plan is to have 4 separate broadcasts, 1 for each group, throughout the course of the week. Let's go. Let us go. Likewise, if you're in the chat as well, if you're a little bit curious as to what's going on, maybe you haven't watched much StarCraft Evolution or much CranKy Ducklings, at least at the start of the year, SE Evo StarCraft Evolution is a mod. It is not the base game of StarCraft 2. It is a mod that does pit together Brood War versus StarCraft 2. They do get pitted against each other. They do face off. So and again, they do face off in a 1v1 formats. One player plays SE2, the other player plays Brood War. The mod is not balanced for Brood War versus Brood War, and it does not allow for SE2 versus SE2. There's always one player playing one version, the other playing the other. Of course, it is typically loser's pick, so whoever will lose the series will be able to pick and choose if they want to stick with their current race or go for the other instead. And we have our groups. We have our groups ready. Today, we're going to be covering Group A. Let's go. Let us go, as we can switch our scenes over and catch up on the group itself. It is a 4-player GSL group. So we have 4 players that we are going to get into our initial matches. We have SHIN versus TaeJa and MaNa versus Mixu. If you haven't been watching StarCraft Evolution over the past almost 2 months at this point, or coming up on 2 months, you might not be familiar, but TaeJa, he is back. He has returned. He has been playing for, as I mentioned, around 2 months or so in StarCraft Evolution. He has not returned to StarCraft 2. He doesn't play StarCraft 2, doesn't compete in StarCraft 2. He only competes in SE Evo, and he's been looking pretty decent. He's been looking pretty good. What I will say is that he, in my eyes, he's kind of maybe in the upper echelons of Terran player. I would still place him below Bjorn and maybe below Spirit, and I don't know how to rate him against someone like Cure. We spoke about it, but actually in this tournament we have some players that are very familiar with StarCraft Evolution. We have others that aren't. There were a couple of invites like Rogue, like Cure, who are not really as well versed in SE Evo, and I'll be honest, a lot of them are relying on their SE2. They're relying on purely their StarCraft 2 skills, and they're getting quite far. They're getting quite far in the tournament. We'll get there. For the time being, though, we have our 4 players. Again, SHIN, TaeJa, MaNa, and Mixu as well. 2 players will advance on. The other 2 will be eliminated from the tournament. Again, this week is the round of 16, and next week will be the playoff bracket. That'll be next week. Oh boy. So we are getting there. For the time being, we have our initial TVZ, and there's a lot to get into. Game 1 is going to be on Pylon. Let's go. Let us go. So we are going to be jumping into Game 1. Again, of SHIN versus TaeJa. This is going to be a really big challenge for TaeJa, to be honest. SHIN, I would say, is the best Zerg player in StarCraft Evolution. Hands down. Previously it was Dark, but Dark retired, so SHIN has risen to take his place as the strongest Zerg player in this game mod, in this game mode. We'll see how TaeJa compares. Oh boy. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pylon, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the pink Terran. Oh, it is TaeJa from Asia. Not to be confused with Yaku. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is SHIN. Go. SHIN, of course, playing SE2 Zerg, and we have TaeJa playing Brood War Terran. Okay. Again, TaeJa, he typically is one to embrace the Brood War side of things that much more. If he can, he will pick Brood War over SE2. Meanwhile, SHIN opening up pool first. Now, when it comes to getting into this initial game mode. We have our initial 2 racks opener. We'll see if we throw down extra axes. There have been some trendy builds over the course of the season. We have had some amendment patches in the lead up here to the StarCraft Evolution Championship, just to balance some things out. Bio has been nerfed quite a bit. Bio for Brood War Terran, I mean, as it was, and it still is quite a strong way to play. I know that Zerg players have been having a very hard time against Bio Terran. Because of that, we have had some nerfs when it comes to stim timings, likewise the Marine, the Medic as well. There's been a lot of targeted balance changes to some of these key units, and a lot of it is also to deter the strength of something like a 3 racks. But now we have the initial 2 racks opener into expand, so a bit of a later setup here. Meanwhile, Shin back at home does make an abundance of lings. Remember, pull first. So we have 6 lings already moving out. We have another pair of lings behind this as well. Shin, he's going to be committing across the map, and we'll see what he can get done as he does hide against the SEV. Thanks to the Overlord, he saw that. He gets spotted. Bunker is denied. TaeJa was trying to be a little bit cheeky here, and here come those Zerglings back at home. TaeJa, he is building up his Marines, again making 2 at a time, and he should have a decent amount of Marines here, even gaining high ground vision, hunting down the Overlord. Overlord is going to be hunted down, and the Overlord will fall. Very nice pickup. Lings, they come in, they will clean up some of these Marines over. The wall is solid. The wall is up, and TaeJa is holding. Or did I speak too soon? Can we focus on that racks? Oh, not quite. Yeah, the racks will hold. TaeJa defends, and with that, the game will continue. Behind this, we have the Academy on the way, bearing in mind that add-ons are a little bit different here in Brood War. So again, we have the Academy. This is going to be for Stim. The Academy does also grant access to Firebats and to Medics as well. So it's a big tech structure here for Bio. We do have a 3-rack setup currently, at least. We're building up that Marine force, working towards Stim, working towards that Stim time. Now, when it comes to Shin and his game state here, he is in a kind of a rough position, I would say. Sure, he was able to catch some Marines, but he lost an Overlord, and he delayed his expansion, and he delayed his droning in favor of the early spawning pool. Was it worth it in the end? I would say no. It was not worth it in the end. So Shin, he has some catching up to do. He has to drone up quite heavily. His 3rd base is also quite late as well, so Shin has got some recovering to do. And welcome to Pylon. I should not gloss over the map itself. Pylon is known for being a very small map, short rush distance by ground. This map favors aggression, and we're expecting aggression out of TaeJa. We spoke about it. Stim is on the way. Once it finishes, he can send it across the map, and it can hit quite hard. Again, these 3 racks builds hit different. Why? Because of the Medic. Typically in StarCraft 2, going for a 3 racks, going for specifically a 3-1-1, takes a lot longer, because in StarCraft 2 you have to wait for the factory, you have to wait for the starport, you have to invest into medevacs. If you wanted to go for a 3 racks like this, you would hit without any medic support, without any healing support. In Brood War it's different. The medic's already here, and TaeJa's already pushing. Stim is done in a couple of seconds. A very crisp timing here by TaeJa, and TaeJa will see if he can break through. We have a spine crawler on the way. We have the Queens, where they are in position. Ro16 behind this as well. Shin, he's trying to prepare. If given some time, Shin, he will be secure on 2 bases, but he's still stuck on 2 bases. You can see TaeJa checking for a 3rd. He's checking for a 3rd base. The 3rd base doesn't exist. TaeJa's going to be feeling pretty good about that. And Shin, he may just have to be forced into a 2-base all-in. Roaches are on the way. Shin defense. At this point, like, Roach production is well underway. Oh. So we have it, the initial upgrades in production as well. Is that the new assets? I know that in the lead up to the championship, they did release not just new models. They released a new eBay model, for example, but they also updated a bunch of the art assets as well. As one Queen does go down, nice pickup, fighting out of range of the spine crawler. Once again, TaeJa confirms no 3rd expansion, but I believe that is the U23HLs. We'll confirm once it's close to being done. But there were a bunch of new art assets that were added to the game. And Shin can now finally expand, but again, a very late 3rd base for Shin. Very delayed. Oh, they even changed the visual upgrade for +1. Ah, let's go. Just to quickly touch on this, just because for the time being, TaeJa is just posturing, just making sure there's no expansion. He is just rotating. Again, a lot of the upgrade models, or I should say the unit models, the building models are all being different. Right now, we're using the same factory model, but as you can see, the eBay model is different, and ideally, everything is going to be custom. This means they do sim forward. They shut down the roaches, the lings, they just melt here. There's no splash damage, and TaeJa breaks on through. He breaks on through, takes out all the roaches, takes out all the queens, and TaeJa, he may just end the game here and now. The boys are being pulled. Alas, SHIN, he's getting desperate. And this is critical damage. This is critical damage at this point. Again, just a really rocky start for SHIN. We spoke about it. The pull first set him behind. He never got a third base up and running. He never had an economy, and alas, he never had an army as a result. As TaeJa, he goes into the main base, targeting down as many drones as he can. 23 drone kills already. And SHIN, he's all in. SHIN, he cannot recover from that. He cannot re-drone from this. We have a third base for Larva. We're moving out with roaches, and SHIN, it's all or nothing for the Zerg player. It's all or nothing. But what I was getting at is that Brood War Terran and SE2 Terran are the same in name only. Same with Brood War Zerg and SE2 Zerg. So they're doing the best they can to distinguish them from each other by creating unique and individual upgrade building models, unit models, and upgrade graphics as well. GG gets called. There's no break in this natural base. Again, the tanks were already sieged up, and TaeJa takes game number 1. GG. TaeJa does take a lead in the series, but even something like upgrades, like +1, technically we have been using the same art asset this entire time between Brood War Terran and SE2 Terran. There's no real reason to kind of change what it looks like, except to once again distinguish one from the other. So again, that's of course a process that they're going through to kind of make everything as unique as they can. But regardless, GG, well played. TaeJa does take a lead in the series. Very strong start. Again, SHIN, he fell behind from the beginning of the game. The pull first opener was not worth it. We spoke about it. It delayed the hatchery, it delayed his droning, and it delayed the third quite heavily. So he just fell behind, he stayed behind. And with that, we're now getting into game number 2, and we'll see where this leads us. Oh boy. This game 2 is going to be on MaNa. Now, on top of that, we spoke about the map, and we spoke about the strength of aggression on Pylon. That also came into play in game 1. Coming into game number 2, this is a much larger map. This is where aggression is less favorable. This is where I do think our Zerg player is going to have a much more comfortable game. But here we go. Here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of MaNa, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Pink Terran, the Brood War Terran. Once again, it is TaeJa. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is SHIN. Here we go. This time we do have a 15 opener here by SHIN, so this time hatch first. Hatch first, something much more economic, something much more standard, hatch gas pool. This will lead into a third base, it'll lead into a more standard mid game, and SHIN already is looking so much more comfortable here on MaNa. But again, it's because of the map as well. MaNa is one of the larger maps in the map pool, longer rush distance by ground, so you can feel a lot more comfortable getting into a longer game set here. I would say the pressure's on TaeJa. TaeJa going CC first also makes sense. We just spoke about the size of the map, so we can cut some corners, we can be greedy, and another option available to TaeJa is going to be mech. Especially on a larger map, I would say that mech may be a little bit stronger than bio here. These stim timings are going to be much weaker compared to what we used to, but nope, there it is, a 2-rax opener once again. 2-rax follow-up, but after the CC first. So it looks like we are once again going to be going for an early stim timing. This time though, SHIN is going to have a better chance to actually defend against it and hold on to his third expansion. As there's that 3-rax. So again, this is a build that has been permeating the meta throughout the past year of play and has been nerfed quite a lot over the year as well. There have been basically every single patch that gets released, there's like an adjustment to bio in some way. Whether it's the healing rate of the medic, the attack priority of the medic, the strength, the DPS rate of the marine, which was also recently lowered, so it has a lower DPS rate, so it does less damage just overall. The build time of the academy, the build time of the racks, the build time of, or the research time of stim. Like, there's just been so much done to Brood War Terran to try to adjust it, but regardless, still is quite viable, still is quite strong, of course. And here we go, we have that 3-rack stim. The academy is on the way, stim is on the horizon. working towards that stim timing. Meanwhile, Shin, he is securing himself on 2 bases. Late third. Ooh, later third base from Shin. Interesting. Stim has begun. Stim is on the way. Time being, as Shin, he is just saturating, he's just droning, and intentionally staying on 2 bases. He's mining quite a lot of gas. He's skipping link speed. It looks like we're opening up Roach. Okay, so 2 base Roach out of Shin. Yep, there it is. We have the Roach horn thrown down. The Queens are in position. 2 base Roach. The tell here was, of course, no expansion, but also the fact that he did not research link speed. So 2 base Roach out of our Zerg. This is a very safe play. This is a very safe way to play, a very safe opener, and it means that he will be safe against any kind of stim timing. The sacrifice, of course, is going to be his economy. And I'm a little bit concerned that this might not be too worth it. Thankfully, he is expanding. This is still a faster third base than last game. Here comes the move out. Overlord does spot it. Likewise, TaeJa spots the Overlord. Does take it down. TaeJa does move out across the map. Roach speed is on the way. Queens are amassing. And it is going to be a tight hold here, but the Roaches are popping out just in time to defend. And there it is. We spoke about at the start of the game. It looks like it's mech. We have 2 factories in production. I mean, you can go like these stim timings, then switch into mech. We'll see if that's the case here, if he's just getting into his own tank support. We'll see what TaeJa takes us. Now diving on top of the hatchery. And he does force a cancel. Nicely done. Does cancel the hatchery, picks up another Overlord. Does get away. Does pull away. +1 range attack, so +1 attack. So it looks like we are still committing into bio. Yes, we have 2 more factories, but it's just for that tank support. We have machine shops on the way. We can then research siege mode and build up as many tanks as we can. 3rd TC for TaeJa. So TaeJa very comfortably switching into the mid game. Meanwhile, we have Shin back at home, who still doesn't have a 3rd. Oh boy, still no 3rd base. Now, Shin, there it is. I was going to say that because he lost his 3rd base, and because his 3rd base was already delayed to begin with, he may just turn this into an all-in. And based on what we're seeing here, looks to be the case. Otherwise, Shin would be droning. Shin, he would be droning if he wants to get into a longer game state. He's making purely Roach Ravager. It is going to be a 2-base all-in, 3rd base just for Larva. TaeJa's moving out. Now is not the time, but the armies, they might just miss each other. Shin gets supply blocked. TaeJa turns back around. Siege mode is done. Tanks are just now sieging up, a little bit too late. The first tank is going to fall. He's going to get both. Both tanks go down. TaeJa out of position. He's coming in from behind, getting on top of the Ravagers. It's a little bit more ideal for TaeJa. Ravagers are getting picked up, getting 1, 2, 3 Ravagers, and TaeJa, he will shut this down. And catches out the main army. Shin, he didn't know where exactly TaeJa was. He saw a force across the map, but only a handful of bio. And Shin, he bleeds out a lot of units. He's going to be forced to drone. Oof. 5 drones on the way in the production tab. Forced to drone up. This is a brutal decision here for Shin. As the initial plan, the initial all-in, has failed. Drag the army within range of the tank. TaeJa, he's holding on. Meanwhile, yeah, we have confirmation that is U23HLs. So that is going to be a new graphical asset. Same with the +1 upgrades. Behind this infestation pit, we are taking up. So Shin, it looks like he's going Roach Ravager into Infestor, into Hive, into Ultra. This is a style that Shin, he actually popularized on this map at, not EWC, at DreamHack Dallas. At DreamHack Dallas, if you remember, this is how SHIN was able to bring down Clem, not with the exact same build, but the same style, I should say, overall. As, oh, my apologies, I was assuming he was going and taking into Hive, but we're investing quite a bit here into Ling speed, into a second Evo chamber first, and we're not quite rushing into the Hive as quickly. We're still expecting Infestors at least, but we'll keep an eye on SHIN. Yeah, there we go. Infestors on the way. So safety Infestors here. Nice snipes, nice star stepping. Takes down a couple of key medics. That was what, 3 medics going down. Range upgrade on the way. The range upgrade is interesting. As if you recall, my assumption here was it was going to be Roach Ravager Infestor into Hive into Ultra, but to really confirm that, we would have seen +1 melee, not +1 range. So interesting choice here. This does mean that SHIN, he may switch into Lurker instead, Hydra Lurker. But there we go, Balian S. So it does. We're still leaning towards Ling Bane Ultra. We'll see. He might just want to make sure his Roach Ravager is a little bit more robust. As that is a tank line. Tanks are set up. TaeJa is secure. Yeah, Radiate's on the way. We have Spider Mines and Ion Thrusters as well. There's a new Ion Thruster graphical asset as well. Okay, let's go. When I say new, again, there was a patch just before this championship that did make some of these adjustments. So yeah, 4 Trojans going down. Nice pick up here from TaeJa. Viper production has begun, and there it is. There's the Ultra Cavern. So we aren't, as I mentioned at the beginning, you know, Roach Ravager into Infestor into Ultra. We're getting there here. Again, did decide to get +1 range just to support some of his Roach Ravager. Does mean that melee upgrades are going to be delayed, so there's the downside to that, of course. But that is going to be SHIN's next big power spike. Now, if you look at the supplies here, remember, the soup does lie. Roach Ravager is very supply inefficient, and SHIN's army is still very Roach Ravager heavy, so he needs to trade. He needs to trade. He needs to throw away some supply to make room for Ultras, to refine his army. And TaeJa, he is ready to receive. Up! Very nice, Biles. Biles, they shut down the dropship. Dropship does go down. TaeJa securing himself here on 3 bases. We do see SHIN likewise expanding on the left-hand, right-hand side. A gold base, okay. SEL Maganatha, just realized we have gold expansions here. Okay. That is not how things are in StarCraft 2. Interesting to see. So kind of waiting on the way. +1 melee has begun. SHIN, again, as a reminder, he does want to trade. And he's going in. He does go in where the Irradiates. Nice blinding clouds here on the tanks. Irradiates are late. Yeah, late Irradiates. Ling Bane does get on top of this. Oh my god, so many blinding clouds. The tanks, they do nothing. The tanks, they do nothing. Tanks are going down. The boys are being pulled. And SHIN, he will break the 3rd. I said he wanted to trade. We might not even see Ultras this game. Might not even see them. SCVs are all going down. Again, TaeJa, he was late to react, late to respond. Again, we're only now getting Irradiates after the fight is concluded. After it's concluded. And SHIN is just going for the kill. Going for the kill, going for the throat. He breaks through that mineral line. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We're going to the ace match. We're going to game 3. Again, after the initial sim timing, TaeJa was very passive. And GG gets called. SHIN, he will tie the series up. GG. GG, well played. I never even realized that we had gold bases here on the SEL version of Maganatha, so really interesting. We have some gold bases. They didn't really come into play. Winding it back, as a reminder, we saw that TaeJa, he was unaware of the army coming his way. He had a really nice spread, a really nice defensive setup. Ideally, you do want to be able to engage ahead of time with your science vessels, with your Irradiates. We saw that the Irradiates were very, very late, just because it looked like TaeJa, again, he was caught off guard. straight up. He was just caught off guard. He was not expecting the army to move in at that time. He had very little map vision and map control, very little map awareness, maybe a better way of putting it. So he didn't know what was coming his way until it was already in his face. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into, we're getting into the ace match, and we have a bit of a role reversal here. Okay, we're going to be getting into Sylphid, and TaeJa is switching to SC2 Terran. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Sylphid, we have the now StarCraft 2 Terran player. We have the pink Terran. It is TaeJa. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have, top side of Sylphid, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Brood War Zerg. It is SHIN. Here we go. Now, welcome on to Sylphid. Sylphid is a 3-player spawn map. You can spawn in top side, right side, or left side. So 3 possible spawn locations. On top of that, no Reaper Cliff. There is no Reaper Cliff into the main base or into the natural at all. It is all in the same plane of elevation. There's no high ground advantage or high ground setup here. So I would say that it is more difficult for Terran players to scout it, to figure out what is exactly going on across the map. If SHIN were to be cheeky, if he were to hide some tech, for example. Likewise, welcome to a very different kind of form of ZVT. Here from the side of Brood War Zerg, it is a little more commonplace to go laying a Hydra into Lurker tech, of course. Mutaplay is viable. I would say Mutaplay is a little bit more viable on larger matches. On larger maps, I meant to say. But we'll see. We'll see how SHIN does approach this. Oh boy. Bearing in mind, of course, no banelings are available for SHIN or anything like that. TaeJa just going for a standard opener. Because Sylphid is a 3-player spawn map, we often do see players just go CC first, but we can see that TaeJa's playing it safe. Playing it safe, playing it standard. We can see the Overlord scouting on the left-hand side. SHIN confirms that TaeJa is nowhere to be found, so SHIN now knows where TaeJa has spawned. Meanwhile, macro hatcheries on the way. As I mentioned before, Brood War Zerg is the same as SE2 Zerg in name only. Because there are no queens, macro hatcheries are a must. You do need these macro hatcheries to maintain your larva, so it's a lot more common to get a lot more hatcheries just for production purposes. Also for SimCity as well, this does help wall up the natural base to deter Hellion dives and Hellion runbys. TaeJa going for the depot, very cheeky. Likewise, because there are no queens, it is a lot more common to rely on site defense for site defense to defend. So we're going for the creep colony, going for the sunken colony behind this as well. Meanwhile, SHIN rushing into a very fast lair. That is a lair before link speed, and I do really like this decision here by SHIN. As a reminder, what did we say? Remember, no Reaper Cliff. Oh, but the Reaper gets in. Yeah, big mistake. Big mistake. That should not have happened. The Reaper does bust into the bases, and TaeJa, he gets into the main base. He confirms the lair. He confirms the lair. Again, that was a big slip up from SHIN. Link speed now begins. Again, new visual graphic for link speed as well. And rushing into a lair like this screams Mutaplay. And TaeJa still has that Reaper alive. Again, because link speed was delayed, that means that this Reaper has free reign. Just free damage on the links. Oh, as we can see, SHIN trying to catch out the Reaper. There it is, Spire is on the way. Even though TaeJa doesn't see the Spire, like, the timing of the lair screams Spire. Can we finally get the Reaper? The Jinx. The drone, there we go. The drone with 1 kill. Reaper finally goes down, but that was totally worth it for TaeJa. Back at home, what do we have? We do have a 3-1-1 setup. So we're setting up with 3-1-1, delayed starport here. eBay's on the way for turrets. TaeJa's getting ready. TaeJa, for the most part, he's seen everything he needs to. Seen everything he needs to. And SHIN is in a bit of a rough position here. We'll see what he can pull off. Slings are deterred. Spire is about to finish. eBay is done. We should be seeing turrets. I'm a little bit surprised that TaeJa hasn't thrown down turrets yet, as we have 6 meters on the way. Now remember, the Brood War Muta is a little bit different to the SE2 Muta. The Brood War Muta does have +1 range, so it has 1 extra range, so it has a little more micro potential. Lots more micro potential. And we're opening up 6 Muta, and then we're switching into a Hydra Den. So we're going for a Hydra Lurker transition here for SHIN. But again, it was a rocky start. So Mutas do move out. Lurker, we're just rushing into Lurker tech. The Lurker upgrade is on the way. Catching a couple of Marines. 1, 2, 3 Marines going down. Stim is not yet done. Stim is incomplete. Turret's just now finishing up. Turret's in the mineral line, but not in the production. So a greedy move here by TaeJa gets punished. So far that's 6 Marines going down. And not a single Muta. Catching out some more of the production. 2 more Marines going down. SHIN does barely get away. Still no third expansion. Like, his base is so delayed. I mean, you can sustain yourself in 2 bases a little bit longer here, but still a little bit concerned. The SHIN, he's rushing into Lurker tech. We have 5 Lurkers morphing in. And now we see why. 2 base all in, essentially. 2 base all in here from SHIN. You can see SHIN, he's not even saturated at his natural base. So 1.5 bases. SHIN is all or nothing. Lapsing on the Marines. Trying to get on top of the medevac. Brutal choke points. SHIN's trying to force his way through. Oh god. That's not going to happen. Lurkers are about to reveal themselves, and it's all or nothing. SHIN, he's going for it. Yeah, he does commit to 1, 2, 3 Lurkers, 4 Lurkers get targeted down, 5 Lurkers, 6. Oh god, every Lurker does fall. They do not burrow in time. And TaeJa holds. TaeJa holds. He shuts down the all-in. It was all or nothing for SHIN. SHIN, he never expanded. SHIN, he never droned up his natural. He never droned, never expanded, just now trying to, but it's so delayed. And there's nothing to defend. There's no Lurkers. Without Lurkers, there is no defense. Is no defense. Mutazade's my +1, but TaeJa is going for the kill. He's going for the kill. He's going for the throat. Spots attack. Lurkers are on the way. TaeJa is going straight for the Lurkers. Oh. Does focus on the Mutas, not bad. Oh my god. That's a lot of Mutas going down. SHIN, he will be able to barely hold on. Does barely hold. Remember, the cocoons of the Lurkers are insanely robust. They have a lot of armor. So TaeJa was waiting for them to morph in. So TaeJa saves his medevacs. And this is a bit of a desperation move here from SHIN. Going across the map, he's got 3 Lurkers. And he'll soon have 0. As we are spreading quite nicely here. And TaeJa spreads, cleans up all the Lurkers. GG gets called. Those are the final Lurkers. And TaeJa, he will take the series at 2-1, advancing on to the winners match. GG. Ooh, GG, well played. Again, a cheeky opener out of SHIN, but as we mentioned, SHIN, he did have a massive blunder at the start of the game where he failed to deny the Reaper Scout. One of the big advantages of Sylphid is there's no Reaper Cliff into the main base, so it is difficult and almost impossible for the SE2 Terran player to scout into the main with his Reaper, but TaeJa slipped in. He was able to slip in, he was able to slip by. We saw that, alas, SHIN, he was barely out of position, didn't deny the scout. With that, the mutas they didn't really get much done, right? TaeJa was well prepared for the mutas, and afterwards we saw that SHIN, he transitioned from a muta opener into a 2-base all-in. Saying 2-base all-in is generous. Remember, it was a 1.5 base all-in in the sense that he had 1.5 base saturation, so it was all or nothing, and alas, in the end, he did fail with said all-in. GG, TaeJa does claim the series, does advance on, and now we're getting ready for our next matchup of the broadcast. Here we go. Remember, this is a GSL group, so TaeJa is in the winner's match. He's waiting for the winner of our next series. Up next is going to be a best of 3 between MaNa and Mixu. Let's go. Let us go, as game 1 is going to be on Pylon once again. Getting into Pylon. Go. I would say that, yeah, MaNa is a little bit more do I want to say well-versed? MaNa and Mixu, they both have played quite a bit of StarCraft Evolution here. MaNa, I would say he's coming in with the edge. Mixu, I want to say, does often kind of mix things up, and sometimes he plays some Terran, sometimes some Zerg in SEVO, so we'll see what he does embrace coming into the series. Let's go. Let's go. Likewise, I hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. We are going to be of course, covering the entirety of Group A today. The entirety of the group. Before getting into, I believe tomorrow's broadcast is going to be Group B. Basically, one group a day to catch up on the round 16. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be Group B, and then Thursday, Friday is going to be C and D, respectively, as well. Oh boy. The game just takes a little bit to load. So good. Also, a big shout out in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Comessator. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for 7 months. For 7 months. Happy God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it as we are getting into our fresh best of 3. Let's go. Let us go. 7 months. Crazy. As sporting in the bottom right hand corner of Pylon, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Brood War Zerg player. We have the Finnish Zerg. It is Mixu. Here we go. Oh boy, and MaNa, he is very hot right now. MaNa, you can make an argument that he is one of the best Protoss players in Europe at the moment. You can even make an argument he's top 4 Protoss, or even top 3 Protoss in Europe. It's crazy, He's been getting some better and better results over the past year, beating players like Clem, beating players like Max. MaNa has had a bit of a renaissance in 2025. We'll see that if that skill translates over to StarCraft Evolution as well, though. True. We shall see. As MaNa does foresee on natural. This is going to be an awkward setup here for the Brood War Zerg player, as Mixu does double expand. That's a hatch opener before spawning pool. Okay. So hatch before gas into pool after the gas as well. So this is very greedy here by Mixu. Insane greed. We'll see if MaNa can punish this. I think he can. Again, because of the setup here, there's going to be no SimCity to wall off the natural, which means he's going to be more vulnerable against depths, against gateway aggression. Does pull some of the boys here to chase down the probe. MaNa, he doesn't respond with the second gateway. We'll see what he goes for. Also bearing in mind, welcome on to Pylon. Pylon is a very small map in map pool, much smaller map. Shorter rush distance by ground. And we'll see how MaNa does open. He may just go for a standard opener and go into a Stargate, into an Oracle. As the Cybercore is soon to finish. We're still waiting for the tech. First Adept is being chronoed. Stargate is on the way. Okay, so a standard opener, just Stargate opener, most likely into a third base. Remember, Mixu, his gases were delayed, his spawning pool was delayed, so MaNa, he knows that he can cut some corners, he can be greedy. Meanwhile, a shout to Silly Dobby in the chat as well. God, baby God. Thank you so much for subscribing for also 7 months. You both subscribed around the same time. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Thanks so many great shows. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Do what we can, baby. We do what we can. Oh, that is a little bit different. So, MaNa, we assumed was going to go for a Stargate open into an expansion. That's a Stargate into a very early Forge for very early upgrades. Okay. Early Forge, early +1 out of MaNa. Adept does move out. The one Adept does nice so much mine time here. Does force out 2 gases and 2 colonies as well. So very nice, as the second Adept has arrived. Remember, there are no queens to defend. We spoke about how often, as Brood War Zerg, you have to rely on site defense, but I don't see any colonies here for Mixu. Link speed is almost done. MaNa, he gets behind the mineral line. He will deny mining. Oh, Mixu coming for the surround. Does come in, and he does not surround the Adepts. Once again, nice movement here by Mixu. He does pull away. Oracle headed for the bases. The colonies are just now finishing up, but they need more time. Yeah, as we just go ham. 3 drone kills. Mixu, he counterattacks. The wall's open. Oh, that should not have happened. The wall is wide open. We're diving on the pylon. MaNa getting caught completely with his pants down. Everything gets depowered. No warp gate forced to recall. Ay. Getting 1, 2, 3 probe kills. MaNa will defend at the same time. Adepts bust into the bases. 9 drones going down. We're getting messy. We're getting very messy here. As again, MaNa should not have lost that many workers. Life Guys has no warp gates. Remember, recall's on cooldown, but the Oracle is in position. We have 2 base charge out of MaNa. The Oracle does defend, but Lings, they once again slip in. Once again, there's still no wall. There's still no wall. But he's trying. He's trying to wall off. Has more probes going down. 9 probe kills. 9 probes once again denying the warp gate. Delaying warp gate very, very heavily. And with that, this has been a rookie game here for MaNa. Yes, he was able to deal some damage, but he sustained so much more as well. We have a game state where charge is finishing before warp gate. that's how heavily warp gate was delayed. And MaNa expands. But I don't think he really wanted to. I think the initial goal was to turn this into an all-in, but now he's forced to expand. Now he's taking up into a Temple Archives and towards Archons and Storm. Forced into a longer game. Oh, okay, a new graphical asset for the Hydra upgrades. Spores do deflect. Hydras are amassing. Zealous, they're trying to get on top of the Hydras. Boys are being pulled. MaNa, he's trading very nicely here. Yeah, he gets into the bases. 9 drones going down. 10 drones going down. Is this going to be game here and now? I mean, Mixu, he did a great job delaying this, but he's not quite ready for it. The Hydras, they're so vulnerable on their own. One Oracle falls, 17 drone kills. This might just be it. This might just be it. This might just be game. And no colonies. GG gets called as MaNa overwhelms, and MaNa takes a lead. GG. GG, well played. That was on Mixu here. Mixu, he was aware of what was happening. He was aware. He got a full scout of the bases. He saw the lack of third base. He saw the early Forge. He saw the early Twilight Council. That all screams charge. And we saw no Sunken Colonies. Sunken Colony is the equivalent of a spine crawler in StarCraft 2, and we spoke in the previous series how as a Zerg player playing Brood War, you are heavily reliant on site defense to defend against pushes like this. Heavily reliant. And there were no colonies. We had Spore colonies against the Oracles, but nothing against the ground army. We saw the Ling Hydra composition was very vulnerable. It's very fragile as a unit composition, and Zelsa just went to town. They just went to town, and with that, we're now getting into game number 2, and we'll see how if Mixu can recover. As we're jumping into that second game, we're going to be loading into Blue Storm, one of the Brood War maps. One of my favorite. The nostalgia, baby, the nostalgia. Here we go. Loading into that second map. Again, MaNa needs almost one more game here to claim the series. And if he can, then we might see a MaNa versus TaeJa match in the winners match. True. May get there. As here we go, we're getting into our second game and spawning in the top right hand corner of Blue Storm. We have the Polish Protoss player, the Polish Protoss. We have the Brood War Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg, the SE2 Zerg. It is Mixu. Here we go. And welcome 1-0 to Blue Storm. Blue Storm, for me at least, is very nostalgic. I didn't really get into watching Brood War until SE Remastered came out. And if you remember, Blue Storm was in the map pool when that occurred. It was in the map pool specifically for the SSL, for the Sport TV Star League. That was a Star League that Sport TV was hosting. They were hosting a Star League for SE2 and for Brood War at the same time. It's crazy. I was like back in 2016. When it comes to the map itself, it has a lot of unique features. First things first, we have a 1 hex entrance into the natural. Very narrow. 1 pylon is enough to wall off, so you can wall off with a pylon. Very narrow entrance, very difficult to actually break through and to actually commit to an all-in. But the rush distance by ground is short. Very short rush distance, very direct rush distance as well, so there's a bit of a give and take. Meanwhile, the natural is exposed in a different way. We have high ground going into the natural base. This is never before feature seen in SE2. Like this is never seen in StarCraft 2. So we have a low ground natural base. Likewise, we also have a low ground third base as well. So we have high ground into the third and high ground into the natural. So if the opposing player can take control of these areas, it can be very difficult to defend. Which is why we often see a lot of engagements further out here on top of that ramp, here as another kind of entrance into the bases. So again, very unique layout. Likewise, we have a very large main base. We have this little offshoot here. There's a Reaper cliff coming down into the main as well here on the right hand side, and we often see drop play unloaded here in this little offshoot of the main. For now, we have standard openers. We are going for a Robo opener from the side of MaNa. This is very standard, winding it back here when it comes to PvZ, when it comes to Brood War Protoss. It is very common to open Robo into a Bay into Reaver drops. Reaver drops are very commonplace in the meta for Brood War Protoss. Meanwhile, that's an insanely early Roach Warren, no link speed. Mixu, he skips link speed, he rushed into Roaches. This looks like a Roach all-in. Looks like we're rushing Roaches. And we'll see if he can catch MaNa off guard. MaNa, he scouted. He didn't quite see enough, though. He saw a standard opener. The probe is going back in, and we'll see what MaNa can confirm. he sees lack of saturation. He sees lack of saturation, but that's not the biggest of tells. Going further in. And he will get a full scout. Oh, the boys are being pulled, and the scout is denied. Ay. Yeah, MaNa, he barely doesn't confirm. He sees no link speed, though. True. He saw no link speed, so that is another tell. He fully walls off with the gateway. Shield barrier, yeah, he knows. Shield barrier is on the way. He knows something is wrong. He knows something is up. As we mentioned before, remember, we have the Bay into Reavers. If we can get that Reaver up and running, then we can defend. Remember, the Reaver is, I would say, kind of like a cross between a Disruptor and an Immortal. The reason for this is because there are no Immortals in Brood War, so the Reaver has to be a little bit more robust, has to be a little bit more impactful than a Disruptor, which it is. So the Reaver has like more roles to kind of fill. So the Reaver's on the way. The all-in is coming. We have Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers. And it's not going to be an easy defense. So far, only one shield battery. Ooh. Only one battery. That Reaver is still on the way. That is shuttle speed being researched. Which I don't know if is the most impactful upgrade. Files on the shield battery. Battery's taking a lot of hits. So far, nice Sim City. Lings, they cannot get in. Dragoon does pull back. Oh, the Reaver's coming in. Is crawling forward. The pylon is almost going to go down. That will depower one of the gates. Two of the gates even. Yeah, two gateways depowered. But MaNa's holding. MaNa, he defends quite nicely here. So very clean defense, and now he can counterattack. Now he can move out with his Reaver with shuttle speed. As Mixu is droning is delayed, his third base is late as well. Scratcher going up, gets a Ravager. Ravager goes down, and the Reaver is coming towards the bases. We have one Queen in position. We have a handful of Zerglings as well. This Reaver shot, ooh, shuts out all the Lings. And now going for the mineral line. Oh my god, two drones. Okay, two more drones. Picks up, pulls away. Gravitic Drive has now been researched. Remember, that is shuttle speed. Takes two shots to kill a Queen. Oh my god. Gets a Queen. Get this scout shots, they will chase you down. They will hunt you down, man. Ay. As we can see, MaNa gaining momentum. Behind this, he expands. He's going to be rallying across towards the third base. And he's going for the Lings. Remember, Link speed is heavily delayed. A nice control there by Mixu. He does split off. Oh no! He did initially, but alas, not towards the end. And GG gets called. MaNa, he overwhelms. He punishes the failed all-in from Mixu. And MaNa will take the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played, MaNa. He will claim the series. I apologize for not updating the score in game there. I was just a little bit distracted by the game itself, by the match itself. But GG, well played. MaNa does claim it, and with that, we have our winners match. Again, my condolences to Mixu. Mixu, he was very dedicated when it came to his build, when it came to his all-in, and so to see it fail, it was just a brutal position there for Mixu. MaNa, with his Reaver harass, he was able to pick off so many Zerglings, allowing his Dragoons to snowball out of control. So a strong showing there from MaNa, and with that, we have the rest of the group playing out. Let's go. Let us switch our scenes over here and catch up on the rest of the group. Ay. As a big shout out in the chat to Acres de Cruz, papi. Ay. Thank you so much for subscribing for also 7 months. That's a lot of people with 7 months, kind of lining up. That's crazy. But thank you so much for the support. We do always appreciate it here as we are delving into the round of 16 and group stage of StarCraft Evolution. I know Acres is very fond of SC Evo, and I do apologize that we weren't able to cover any of the round of 28. We just didn't have any free slots available. We've just been so bogged down and so engulfed in StarCraft 2 with EWC, with Home Story Cup. We have been casting less SC Evo as of late, but now we can focus on the championship, and the goal here is to cast all of the round of 16 this week. So today is Group A, tomorrow is Group B, on Thursday is Group C, and Friday is Group D. So we're going to be covering every single match in the round of 16 throughout the course of the week. And then this weekend, of course, is the playoffs. The playoffs are this weekend. But as you can see here, we have our results coming in, and we do have the first 2 matches wrapping up, and now we have our winners match. TaeJa versus MaNa facing off in the winners match, and we have SHIN and Mixu facing off in the elimination match. Oh boy. So we have our 2 upcoming matches, and then of course we have the decider match to determine who will advance on in that final place, in that final spot. Oh boy. Here we go. As we are jumping into our winners match. Let's go. The best of 3 is upon us. The TVP. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Pylon, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss, the Brood War Protoss. For Team Liquid, it is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the StarCraft 2 Terran player. We have the South Korean Terran. He is back. It's summer. It's summer somewhere. It is TaeJa. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. So we are jumping into our best of 3 TVP, and again, coming into this, we'll see how TaeJa can fare. He was looking quite strong, quite powerful against SHIN, punishing more or less SHIN's lack of economy multiple times in game 1 and game 2, but now he's up against MaNa, a very different kind of player here. Now, we spoke earlier how it's very meta, at least in PvZ, to see robo-based openers. I will say the same about PvT. I will say the same about every matchup, actually. I think that's one of the biggest weak points here when it comes to Brood War Protoss, is it does feel like there's not as much variety when it comes to openers. Now, there are some niche builds that you can go for, like Stargate openers. True, because the scout has been messed around with so much, we have seen a little bit of Stargate opener and Stargate play, for example, in certain maps, especially. And we also have a unique build that Classic does dip his toes into every now and then, going for earlier charge, right? Going for the earlier Citadel into earlier charge, into early +1. So there are some more niche builds out there, like early charge or like Stargate play, but when it comes to MaNa, we're expecting a Robo, we're expecting a Bait, we're expecting Reavers. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on MaNa. Meanwhile, Double Gas open out of TaeJa. Double Gas is going into a faster factory, into a delayed CC, so a very safe, very tech-heavy start from our South Korean Terran. Sorry, was just checking on something. My apologies. We're back, we can focus. Reaper does dip in. So I just smelled something weird outside. So I was just quickly checking, but we're all good. As we have additional openers, so far we have Dragoon range on the way. MaNa is securing himself on 2 bases. Meanwhile, TaeJa going into his own 1-1-1. Again, it was a CC after the factory, so it is just a safe opener out of TaeJa. A little bit more tech heavy. With this can lead into early tank production, that can lead into early Cyclone, can lead into early Banshee play as well. We'll see how he does kind of build this all together. He has options. TaeJa does have a lot of options coming into this. Safety shield batteries on the way. And we'll soon see the tech of choice from MaNa. And there it is. Yep, Robo. Again, there's a reason why we brought it up at the start of the game. It's just very common in every matchup to just open up Robo and to go for a Reaver drop. That's what MaNa's going for. Dragoons, so they do threaten. They do send away the Reaper. So on TaeJa to figure out what's going on. And there it is, Tech Lab on the starport. We did mention how, I mean, we could have gone for an Anassault, but regardless, looks like Cloak Banshee play out of TaeJa. So we're heading into Cloak Banshee. That's a second starport, okay. We're going Mass Banshee. 2-port Mass Banshee going into Cloak, we can go into Hyperfly Rotors. Okay, a very interesting build here out of TaeJa. Now, it does also mean his natural is late, just because it was on the high ground as well, so a high ground CC. And he even worked it into an orbital first, before landing. And there is definitely a lot of potential here. Thankfully, MaNa, he already has the observatory, so he does have detection. But Dragoons aren't the most mobile of units. Remember, Dragoons are not really like Stalkers. They shoot up, yes, that they walk on all fours, I suppose. True. But they're not as mobile. They don't have blink. There's no warping mechanic. There's no recall. So Banshees have a lot of potential, but here comes MaNa. MaNa, he does move everything across the map. These are vanilla Marines. We'll see what MaNa can get done. Now, I assumed it was going to be a Robo Opener into a Reaver, but no, it was Robo Opener into Observer, and we are sticking with a gateway composition. So I have to eat my words here. We're not going for a Reaver Opener MaNa. He does adjust. He's going into Master Dragoon instead, and I do like this a lot more, specifically against what TaeJa's up to. As here comes the first Banshee. Observer now goes into the main, and soon MaNa, he will confirm what's going on. The Banshee does hit. MaNa's in position. Observer confirms double starport. Now he knows. And now he knows, and now he should respond with his own Stargate. Takes down the first Banshee. That should not have happened. First Banshee goes down. And there we go. Stargate's on the way, so good reaction, good response. Hyperfly Rotors is being researched. MaNa, he also saw that. He saw everything. So MaNa, he sees all, he knows all. Remember, this is a big investment from TaeJa, and he's killed 5 probes. I mean, 5 probes is a decent start. But he will need more than that. Remember, because of this build that he's going for, there's no stim, right? There's no stim, there's no bio upgrades. And he does want to get into bio. MaNa just going straight for the tank. Tank is going down. Banshees are coming from behind. Where is the detection? Where is the detection? Oh god. Yeah, Dragoons are going down. Detection nowhere it needs to be. We have 2 observers back at home. And so many Dragoons are going down. Again, MaNa, he saw the Mass Banshee, knew what was happening. That was what, 5 Dragoons going down. Too many losses. Back at home, we have the scout that's on the way. Will help. Again, those are brutal losses for MaNa. Should not have happened. And everything here is on a knife's edge. It's feeling very tense. MaNa once again going for the tanks. He gets 1, he gets 2. Pulls back, and once again he gets punished by the Banshees. The Banshees, they get so many Dragoon kills, they're gonna kill everything. And Dragoons are being chased down. Mass Banshee popping off. Finally, we do have a scout. Corsair's on the way as well. Slapping the observer. And I do favor TaeJa coming into this. Like, he's just had more efficient trades. He's now getting his 3rd base. Likewise, so is MaNa. Scout can 3-shot. See TaeJa once again dip in, once again dealing more damage. Corsairs, they chase down the final Banshee here. Now, the concerning thing is that it feels like MaNa's 1 step behind. Right now he's going into double Stargate Mass Corsair, which is cool. He will be able to shut down the Banshees, but at this point, like, we're done. We're done with Banshees. We're switching into bio. We have all these Raxes, Stim is on the way, Combat Shields +1. The Corsairs, they have limited uses. Of course, they can always Disruption Web, true. Like, there's a little bit more utility there, potentially. But it does feel like the Banshees, they've paid for themselves at this point. Paid for themselves, they've done what they need to do. As TaeJa does move out across the map. Storm is not done. There's no splash damage, no Storm. We have Mass Corsair to try to deal with this. Oh boy. As TaeJa's moving in, takes down the High Templar. Templar goes down, he gets one, he's gonna get the other. Barely gets away. Shouts to the shield battery. Oh my god. Does save the Templar. 5 more seconds, but GG gets called just before Storm finishes. TaeJa overwhelms and takes game number 1. GG. TaeJa does take a lead in the series. Again, the Mass Banshee worked wonders. We saw that MaNa had just a late scout. There were a couple... I will say that the Banshees, they didn't really deal much economic damage. It wasn't that. It wasn't the economic damage that really did snowball out of control. There were some probes going... So many Dragoon kills, and they're quite expensive. So many fights did a swing heavily finishing the Dragoon. On, we saw unfortunately MaNa that were very comfortable. Eventually to commit there themselves. By then it wasn't about damage to the point where now we're jumping into game number 2. We'll see if MaNa can recover. See if we can recover it. And spawning in the right-hand corner of Sylphid, we have the Team Liquid down in the series. We'll see who mounts back. And spawning in the Aaron himself from South Korea. Game number 2. Map, you can spawn in topside, right spawn locations. Because of this case, you're feeling pretty safe as well. Immediately will even delay the CC. Will delay. Medic production. Need. No, fun fact. If might just supply block. Scan. Goes to the middle. MaNa, he does. TaeJa can caught out. He has to stay. Team charge. Broken just because the supply block. Outside of that, much more comfortable. At least he was not there yet. The ace match. It all ends on MaNa. The South Korean Terran, it is TaeJa. LR Jenkins in the YouTube chat, lag more? Any frames or anything like that? Maybe. TaeJa opening up. TaeJa. Confirm. Scattered. Here from TaeJa. As on the low grounds. One or both. Nice snipes. Gets one. Gets one of the Cyclones. Oh, but the Ducklings are brutal, losing another Dragoon, another 2 Dragoons. Yeah, so far 3 Dragoons going down for 1 Cyclone. TaeJa not stopping. I tell you, yeah, he's been watching some StarCraft. He's been aye. As MaNa, he's not going into charge, he's going into Reavers. Base on the way for Reaver production. Bold move. Oh god, as the Lock-ons, they annihilate these Dragoons. We do try to break them with the shuttle though, but it's not going to be enough. Yeah, it's not going to be enough. The Cyclones, they will overwhelm. They shut down every single Dragoon, the shuttle as well, and there's nothing left. Trying to fight Cyclones head on is not going to work. I appreciate that MaNa, he tried to be a little bit more creative by having the shuttle there to break Lock-ons, but again, it doesn't take long for the Lock-on to reset. Not in the current patch. So Cyclones, they dominate. And MaNa, he will struggle to defend. Does have the shield battery. And what's scary here is that sure, MaNa, he can defend at his natural thanks to the shield battery. TaeJa has the third. TaeJa, he has the third base getting up and running. He has the greater economy. He can build up a larger army. The problem as well with Reavers is that Reavers, they have potential for damage, that is true, but they're also, speaking of immobile, they're also very immobile. They're heavily reliant on shuttles, and it's a shuttle that's more exposed. It's a shuttle that's also more vulnerable, and it's going to be the target for these Cyclones. As the Reaver is out. Building up those Scarabs. There's no shuttle currently. There's no shuttle. But the Reaver is stocked up. Going for a Stargate, okay. And this is also on 2 bases, by the way. We're still stuck on 2 bases. MaNa just now expanding. What are the counters to Cyclones from Brood War? I would imagine it's very similar to StarCraft 2. In StarCraft 2, how do you counter mech? How do you counter Cyclones with a mass kind of gateway composition? And charge lots are a big part of that. Charge lots, Stalkers, and Archons. But of course, it is a little bit easier for SE2 Protoss just because Stalkers can break lock-ons. They can also dive in. Likewise, Zealots are faster because of the charge upgrade, and they can close that distance and get on top of the Cyclone. For Brood War Protoss, it's very different. You can see that MaNa, he's trying to go into Carrier. That's his response, is to go into Mass Carrier. Bold move here. Bold move, we'll see if it works. We'll see if it's gonna pay off. But also, when I say like going into like a mass gateway style, I also don't know if that would work against Battle Mech. That's my assumption here. I would assume a gateway composition of Dragoon Zealot with Storm support. As I want to say we've seen that before. Cyclone's getting called out. It's a bit of miscontrol there by TaeJa. Late to react, late to respond. Back at home, TaeJa, he's actually switching out of mech. Ooh, so TaeJa is doing something that we see in Brood War, but it's less viable here. We're switching into Buy. We're hard switching into Marine Marauder out of Mass Cyclone. We have a couple of Thors to support as well. Interesting. It's right now it's a bit of an awkward period for TaeJa, but because of the faster third, he can afford it. He can afford this switch. His upgrades are still not ideal. Like, he's still getting into +1. And right now, MaNa's vulnerable. MaNa, he is vulnerable. He's heavily reliant on these Reavers. These Reavers, they need to get damage done. They need to pop off. Up. Reaver shots going up. Decent connections. Very nice. Yeah, oh my god. The Skype shots are brutal. TaeJa trying to brute force his way through. Does take a lot of shots to the face. And hey, with the arrival of the carriers, MaNa, he can hold. Where's the anti-air? He's got a couple of Thors, true. A couple of Thors are coming in. Carriers are soon to reveal themselves. Carriers are lacking the upgrades, so they only have the maximum of 4 interceptors. So not that many carriers. They go for the tank. First tank goes down. 1 tank for a carrier. Oof. Brutal loss there for MaNa. And there's the carrier upgrade. For those that are curious, when carriers spawn in initially, they only have enough capacity for 4 interceptors. So carriers are actually quite weak. They're very weak until they get the upgrade, which does increase their capacity. So MaNa, he can't really chase. The capacity upgrade is on the way. So MaNa is being forced back. Again, the carrier's taking so many hits. And there's only 2 carriers. With that TaeJa, he breaks the third. He chases down one of the carriers. Ooh, Viking shot goes off. One carrier left. Now we have the capacity upgrade, and you can see now we're building up more interceptors, but it might just be too late. It might just be too little too late. And too many losses here for MaNa. He's trying to hold his own. TaeJa just forcing his way in. We have one Reaver. Very nice control. TaeJa splits. Does split, does avoid. Oof. Yeah, Reaver goes down as well, and TaeJa snowballing out of control. He's breaking on through. 30 probes going down. And MaNa cannot hold on. He cannot keep up. Not like this. Again, carriers can be good if you can mass up a good amount of them. If you have an economy, but that's just not what MaNa has. Again, late third base, late economy. GG gets called, and TaeJa, he will claim the series 2-1. He will advance on to the playoffs. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, TaeJa. He will claim the series, and TaeJa, he will be the first player to make it through into the playoff bracket. Congratulations here. MaNa, he was able to hold his own, but this was a bit of an awkward game just because TaeJa did go into Mass Cyclone. MaNa had a really hard time in the early to mid game. He was being punished, he was being abused by the Cyclones. His response was to go into Sky Toss, but because he was stuck on 2 bases, he didn't really have the best economy for that, to get into the upgrades, to build up a supportive army as well for the carrier. It was a bit of a shaky road to the mid game there for MaNa. He eventually got to the carriers, but he still needed more time, and TaeJa was able to break him. Before MaNa stabilized. GG. GG, well played. TaeJa, he will be the first player through the group stage. As you can see here, TaeJa, he is now in the playoff bracket. Meanwhile, scrolling down, we do have our remaining matches ahead of us. Here we go. We do have the elimination match. That's going to be after the break. We're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we have a SHIN versus Mixu in a ZVZ, and we have MaNa waiting for the winner of that series. Remember, it's a GSL group, so top two advance on. TaeJa is the first player. We still have one more slot available for either SHIN, Mixu, or MaNa. One of these players will advance on alongside TaeJa. Alongside TaeJa, SHIN versus Mixu is going to be coming up next. We'll see who will make it through. Also, I'm assuming ZVZ, but I do know that Mixu has been avoiding ZVZ and playing Protoss or playing Terran. So Mixu, he may play a different race instead. Hard to say. As we are going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, when we return, we will have the next series. We'll see you soon after the break. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the elimination match. The elimination match here of Group A of the StarCraft Evolution League Season 2 Championship Round of 16. Congratulations to TaeJa. TaeJa, he's the first player to make it through into the playoffs, but we are here to determine who will join him in those playoffs. So spawning in the bottom hand corner of Sylphid, we have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the StarCraft 2 Zerg. It is Mixu. And spawning in the top side, we have his opponent. We have the Brood War Zerg player. We have the South Korean Zerg representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is SHIN. Here we go. And again, we have 2 series remaining here in tonight's broadcast. We have this series, and of course, we have MaNa waiting for the winner of this best of 3. As a reminder as well, MaNa's match, the decider match, is going to be a best of 5. That'll be a best of 5 to end the broadcast. For now, though, we have our best of 3. For now, we do have Hatch first here out of SHIN, Hatch first out of Mixu. So far, so good. ZVZ has a very different dynamic in StarCraft Evolution. Personally, I'm really fond of the mirror matchups. I'm really fond of ZVZ, PvP, and TVT just because they are so different, and they're essentially just a brand new matchup. Essentially, the Zerg player, the Brood War Zerg player, typically wants to play on 2 bases a little bit longer. The reason for this is because they can't really maintain a third that early on because they have no banelings, right? They open up Ling, yes, that's true, but typically Ling into a 2-base setup into 2-base Hydra. They can go 2-base Muta, that is a viable tech path, but typically 2-base Hydras they go to. Mixu going for a Gasless open. Greedy, very greedy move here from Mixu. He does open up hatch, pull into another hatchery here. So sorry, I think that was actually a pull after the 3rd hatchery. So very late pull, very late gas, very early 3rd base, very greedy build by Mixu. But again, he's also hoping that SHIN is going to be a little bit more passive, a little bit more defensive, and Mixu's hoping he can get away with this greed. And I think he can. SHIN back at home, getting his macro hatchery, walling up on 2 bases. Again, 2-base play is the standard, is the go-to for Brood War Zerg. Yep, 2-base straight to lair, skips link speed. Mixu, he calls correctly. Because link speed is going to be delayed, there is nothing to threaten the 3rd base or the natural. There's nothing to threaten Mixu. He will get away with this greed. Meanwhile, by rushing into this lair, this looks like 2-base Spire. This looks like 2-base Muta from the side of SHIN. We'll see. He may just go into a Hydra Den, and he might just go straight into Hydra upgrades, but for the most part, I'm leaning towards Mutas. Now, on the one hand, Mixu, he was able to accurately and correctly get away with this greedy build, that is true, but now it's on him to scout. It's on him to scout to figure out what the hell's going on. Overlord does move forward, and does confirm the defensive setup, but we have to get into the main. Again, for all he knows, it could be 2-base Hydra, for all he knows, it could be 2-base Muta. And you can see, here comes the Spire, here comes the Muta. So 2-base Muta out of SHIN. Remember, Hydras they're hatch tech, not lair tech, that's why we called Muta play. Gases are being taken, and again, Mixu, he's working with incomplete information. He doesn't fully know yet. He's not aware. For now, Mixu, he's still droning, now getting a safety Roach Warren. Getting his Warren. Spire is almost done for SHIN. Uh-oh. Spire is almost done. Lings, they poke in, they confirm saturation. SHIN just keeping an eye on what Mixu is up to, at least. Is keeping an eye. SHIN, he confirmed the Roach Warren. Upon seeing saturation, he knows there's no all incoming his way. The Overlord finally does confirm. Mixu, he knows. He sees, he knows spores are in production. He's throwing down as many spores as he can. Mixu now aware of the Mutas. But we'll see if he can minimize the losses here. We'll see if he can maintain his bases. We'll see if he can survive. As Mixu does counterattack. Does hit the third. Able to be hunted down. Roach production has begun for Mixu. He's building up roaches. Is it too late to go for an all-in though? Because SHIN, he did open up MaNa, that is true, but behind this he's switching into Lurker. He's working towards his Lurkers. As we're catching out the queens that get surrounded. Brutal Peacock's getting 1, 2, 3, 4 queens. Ay, ay, ay. That should not have happened. Lings, they get into the mineral line. And the music coming from behind, they go for the roaches. Nice repositioning. Roaches are going down. SHIN, he breaks the third. And he's going to get all the workers as well. The mineral line, it's going to go down. Ay, ay, ay. And again, the control has been solid. Hasn't lost any mutas yet. And the third is broken. Likewise, catching reinforcements in between the bases. And Mixu just caught with his pants down. Losing all the queens was brutal. Roaches are getting just free hits in. Getting a little of free damage. And the spores are going down. Mutas have free reign. They will take over the third. Mixu, he's all in. GG gets called, and SHIN takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG will play, SHIN will take a lead in the series. Again, Mixu, he had late scatters what was going on. Despite that, he did have potential for a good setup. He had a lot of spores on the way, but losing all those queens, that was game. That was game then and there. If he was able to pull back the queens to his mineral line, keep them safe with the help of the spores, build up his roaches, then he would have had roach queen to defend, could have stabilized, gotten into his Hydra tech because it was working towards a Hydra den as well, and could have made a game out of that. But real fast and real quick, SHIN, he saw the opportunity, he went for it. Did go for it. Immediately just reset the queen count and went for the third from there. GG. GG well played. A very fast game number 1, and now we're getting into game 2. We'll see if Mixu can recover, as it is going to be up to Mixu to determine, does he play Brood War or StarCraft 2. We have confirmation as spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Maganatha. We have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg, the StarCraft 2 Zerg. Oh my god, he's getting cheesed. It is Mixu. And I'm hoping he's not too greedy. Here is spawning in the top left-hand corner. Going for what? Going for what looks to be a 13-12. Going gas into spawning pool, a hyper-aggressive build. Likewise, oh, we have the 12 pull out of Mixu. Let's go. In the top left-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player for Weibo Gaming. The brutal Zerg, it is SHIN. Now, this wasn't a 12 pool. I think it was a 13 or even 14 pool. But this was a little bit later here. He did make the initial drone. True. But regardless, we have hyper-aggressive builds. Now, Mixu, by going pool first, is going to go spawning pool into a hatchery. He's going to have early link production. But there's one big difference. What does Mixu not have? Gas. No gas, no link speed, no banelings. So these are going to be vanilla, slow Zerglings. Meanwhile, SHIN, he does have gas. SHIN, he's even going for an expansion. SHIN, he will have link speed and he'll have an abundance of links. I'm a little bit concerned for Mixu. I'm a little bit concerned here. Mixu, there's going to be a big power spike when link speed kicks in for SHIN. We'll see if Mixu can determine that and can play safe against it. Otherwise, Mixu will lose everything. Ideally, Mixu, there is a window in time where he can be assertive with this army before link speed kicks in, but we'll see what he can get done. As Mixu's moving out. There we go, link speed is on the way. SHIN pulls out of gas. Let's pull out. Likewise, Mixu, he does bypass, he does hit the natural. And will he confirm the gases? He should. Yeah, he should. He does slip into the main. Mixu, he sees the gas. He knows. Yeah, he knows that he has to get the hell out of here. I mean, he's going to trade with these Zerglings initially, but he has to set up defensively back at home. As link speed is about to finish. And SHIN, he's not stopping Link production. And 10 more seconds. Mixu has to get the hell out of here. He's racing back home. Back at home, he will have Queens to help defend. He'll have Queens. He can pull the boys if need be as well. And here comes Link Speed. Yeah, here comes Link Speed. SHIN chasing Mixu down. Mixu, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it back home. No, he gets surrounded. He gets caught. He will lose every single Zergling. Now we're going for the Queen. There's only one Queen. It's going to get surrounded as well. Yeah, the Queen goes down. He gets one. He's going for the other Queen. And SHIN, he's here to claim the series. He's here to claim it. All the Queens go down. GG gets called. And SHIN, he will claim the series 2-0. He will advance on to the decider match. GG. GG, well played. As we were mentioning, SHIN had a big power spike with Link Speed. Mixu, he did not make it home in time. He had to get the hell out of there. Once he realized what was happening, once he realized that Link Speed was being researched, he had to make it home as quickly as possible. To do what? To be able to defend with his queens, right? Then he would have 2 queens at home, he would have his Zerglings, and he could even pull the boys as well to help buffer. That's what he would need to help defend, but he got caught. He got caught in the center of the map. He was racing home, didn't get home in time. Queen got surrounded. GG. GG, well played. With that, SHIN does claim the series. With that, Mixu is now out of the tournament. He's now out of the StarCraft Evolution League Championship. And now we have 1 series left tonight. 1 series left. It's going to be a best of 5. Best of 5 between SHIN and MaNa. Oh boy. Just need a moment to set up. Get things going. Okay. So again, SHIN versus MaNa is going to be our final series of the broadcast, and game 1 is going to be on Vermeer. Let's go. Best of 5 for that final game, for that final series. Condolences to Mixu. Again, it was a very intense, very fast series. We're spawning in the bottom right corner of Vermeer. We have the Teal Zerg player. We have the Brood War Zerg representing Weibo Gaming. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Vermeer, we do have the Polish Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss, the SE2 Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And welcome one all to Vermeer. Vermeer is a 4-player spawn map on MaNa. He scouts SHIN immediately. The probe does move in, confirms the drone, confirms SHIN's location, and even forces the unnatural natural. Nice moves here out of MaNa. Very nice moves. Again, SHIN, if you can see here, he has 2 pings, top right and bottom left, so he's aware that his opponent is at one of the 2 locations. MaNa, likewise, he was aware that SHIN was either top left or bottom right. Now, as you can see, when it comes to the minimap, when it comes to these pings, the way this works here, yes, Vermeer is a 4-player spawn map. You can spawn in any of the 4 locations, but when you load into the game, here, specifically in StarCraft Evolution, one of the locations is eliminated. So SHIN, he knows MaNa is not top left. He knows that he's not top left, so it does eliminate one of the possible locations. Does eliminate. Does make it a little bit easier to scout on 4-player maps. As SHIN does have a bit of a rocky start. The probe is still here. The probe is still making sure there's no expansion. MaNa just being as annoying as possible. We'll see if he goes to the pylon. Ooh, it does. It does go for the pylon. The probe. Can he get away? Oh my god, the jukes. Does pull away. Does survive. Shields are regenerating, and the probe will escape. And SHIN going hatch gas pull. And MaNa settling in. And we'll see if MaNa does it open up with a Reaver, with a Robo. Does he go for a Robo opener? Does he go Twilight Council? Where are we heading? Right, of course, SE2 Protoss. Sorry, my brain was elsewhere. So we should be seeing a Stargate opener, Stargate into a 3rd base. Typically, that's what we're getting. But if you remember, we saw a very unique build out of MaNa last time. What did MaNa go for against Mixu? He went for a Stargate opener into a Forge on 2 bases into a 2-base charge all in. Sorry, I say against against Mixu. It was against, let me just double check. Yeah, it was against Mixu. So we'll see if he goes for that here. Especially because we have close spawns, we have vertical spawns. Meanwhile, Hydra is on the way. Shin getting into Ling Hydra. This time, no Muta play. MaNa attempting to scout with the Adept. Let's get into the main. Sees the gases, and it looks like he will not confirm the attack. Yeah, barely not. Adept does get away. He sees additional gases, he sees no lair. Technically, there could be a lair at the fringe location, at the third base. Oh, that's a unique visual. Okay. Let's see if our Hydra upgrades on the way. And yep, there it is, early Forge and Twilight Council. So if you remember, I just brought up a build that MaNa did against Mixu earlier today. It was Stargate Opener into Forge, into early +1, into Twilight Council, into Charge. So this looks like a 2-base Charge move out, and this can hit very hard. As I'm assuming it's the same build. I'm making that assumption. Yep, there it is, +1 in Charge. So the same build once again. Now the reason why this works wonders here in this matchup, as Sage Trap goes, oh, gets a good portion of the mineral line. Ay, ay, ay. Nice start here for MaNa. But the reason why this works really well is because what is the counter to Zealots? What is the counter to Charge Lots? Well, in StarCraft 2, Ling Bane, right? The Banelings specifically. Banelings can shut this down. Otherwise, Roach Ravager also can fare well in high numbers against this charge kind of timing. But what does Brutal Zerg not have? Roaches and Banelings, right? There's no Roaches, no Banelings. It's purely Ling Hydra to defend. Basically, what Shin needs is he needs to determine what's happening, he needs to scout and figure out what's going on, and he needs stack defense. Ideally, some sunken colonies would be ideal here to defend, to survive. Otherwise, it can be a very, very difficult defense and very difficult hold. Thankfully, Shin, he isn't over-droning. You can see here, he's not droning up his third base completely. He's investing and making Ling Hydra first. So he's not being too greedy. Even the natural isn't fully saturated. Half saturation here, half saturation here. Shin's playing safe. As Shin, we do hide these Zealots. Oh, yeah, Zealots are now revealed, and now he knows. Yeah, now he knows what's going on. Zealots are moving out across the map. Shin, he fully walls off. A very nice reaction, very nice scout. Again, if he was unaware, this would be completely open, but he's getting ready. So Shin is getting ready. He's fully walling up, and Shin, he should be able to hold. He should be able to defend. I say that the wall is not broken. I'll say peel off in towards that natural. Ooh, they get on top of the Hydras. 1, 2 Hydras going down. Drones are vulnerable. But Shin holds. Yeah, Shin, he does hold. Zelsa catching reinforcements. Nice movement here by MaNa. Nice movement as he gets into the mineral line. He's going for the economy. And this is brutal. Now, what's scary here, this should not have happened. That's 5 drones going down. Doesn't sound like a lot, but remember something important. The drone count isn't high. Remember, the drone count was low to begin with to make all these Hydras to be safe. And now there's barely any economy. Now we're down to 35 workers. A brutal economy here for Shin. Ay, ay, ay. He lost far too much, and it feels like he's being forced into an all-in. Yeah, he is. He's not joining. Yeah, Shin, he's not joining. He's going 2-base all-in. I say 2-base all-in. This is like 1.5 base all-in. Like, there's barely any saturation going on. Here we go. It's all or nothing. Army gets spotted. Storm is almost done. The Storm will be done in time. And we'll see if Shin can break the natural up against 3 High Templar with Storm. Now, I feel like in this kind of game state, it's a hard call to make. It might be wise to give up on the third. I'm referring to MaNa in his defense here. We'll see how he does approach this. Here come the High Templar, here come the Storms. But he doesn't really have much support for his army. Storms are coming in. Storms, oh, he will lose 1 High Templar. He lost the Storm. Ah, he's fine. Yeah, he's fine. The Storms, they land. GG, he does shut down the army. And MaNa takes game number 1. Whew. Ay, ay, ay. I shouldn't have doubted. I should have. I shouldn't have doubted the storms, Pappy. GG. I was a little bit concerned that MaNa didn't have enough zealots to protect the High Templar, but the storms were solid. GG, well played. MaNa takes a lead. MaNa does take a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Again, SHIN, he forced himself into an all-in. I say forced himself. There were two things that happened there. One, SHIN, he wasn't making drones to begin with, but he also lost a bunch of workers in that defense, which meant that there was no kind of longevity to SHIN. He had to commit then and there. He was forced into the all-in. It's possible he wanted to go into an all-in to begin with, but he had a weakened all-in because he had a worse economy. And here we go. We're now getting into game number 2, and we'll see if SHIN can bounce back. We'll see if he can make a series out of this. As spawning in on the right side, on the bottom side of Purity and Industry, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the Brood War Protoss representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player. We have the South Korean Zerg representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is SHIN. Chat lurkers. Lurkers are not a response to zealots. To make it clear, the timing of MaNa hits before lurker tech, which is why SimCity is crucial. And again, SHIN, he responded well. He responded well with his SimCity. He responded well initially. It was just during the defense that he was caught off guard and caught with his pants down. So again, side defense, SimCity. It's kind of what you want to go for. And SHIN, he handled himself well initially. So MaNa does perk in. Does force the unnatural natural. MaNa just going for a standard opener. And welcome on all to Purity and Industry. This is a Legacy of the Void map, of course, has been revitalized for StarCraft Evolution. We have an island base, which I don't think I've ever seen taken specifically in SC Evo. Well, actually, I might have seen like a Terran float over, maybe. I think I've seen it taken like once or twice. Like once or twice sort of thing. SHIN is going for a very early third. Oh, okay. Very early third base here from SHIN. We'll expand. And we'll see where our players take us. Now that MaNa's playing Brood War, it is very common. Yep, Robo opener. This should be for a Reaver drop. So we're expecting Reaver drop play. Now, Reaver drops can be a little bit awkward here just because of the slow zones. There are a plethora of slow zones in between the bases. The rush distance by air is very short, but the slow zones can complicate things. So MaNa has to be very wary of those slow zones, bearing in mind that SHIN does have anti-air with his queens, so he does have something here to counteract said shuttle play. Early, very early Roach Warren, so early third base, early Roach Warren. SHIN, it looks like he's going for an early push. You can see here he's not pulling out of gas. He's not pulling out of gas. Link speed, stays in gas, hyper aggression here, early aggression from SHIN. And it's going to be a tough hold here for MaNa. I mean, again, MaNa's blind. In a way, so to be enough, maybe. Enough support. For the Bay. If SHIN attacks as MaNa's across the map, remember there's no recall. So SHIN, he might be able to break the natural and just end the game. He could just end the game with this. Here comes the army. SHIN is rallying. Expanding at the island base. Let's go. Does go for the expand. Love to see it. But right now, again, he only has one gateway. Remember, MaNa, he's skipping gateways. He's skipping production. His second gateway just not finishing up. MaNa, he's about to expand. Now is not the time because an all-in is coming his way. And MaNa, he just has no idea. He has no idea. The pants are caught down. No shield battery either. And SHIN, he's going for the kill. He's looking to tie up the series. Looking to tie things up. Scrap shot goes off. Oof. Connects with some Zerglings. The army does get in. Looking to depower everything here as that does not trust his pylon. Yeah, pylon goes down. Gateway's depowered. And this is all there is left. 1 Reaver and 2 Dragoons. I mean, hey, the Reaver shots are looking solid. Okay. The Reaver shots are looking solid. Ooh. Connects with the Ravager. That's a lot of probe kills, though. Now, a couple of things. One, MaNa holds. MaNa, he holds on. The Reaver was the backbone of the army. He does hold, he does defend. And even though he lost a lot of workers, fun fact, SHIN is down in drones. Like, SHIN, he's down in economy because this is an all-in. Oh, the wall. Oh, God, the wall's not a wall. Yeah, the wall's not a wall. Lings, they get to surround. Ay, ay, ay. If this was fully wall off, then maybe MaNa can survive, but never mind. As he will lose everything. Done, and he stacked his own drones. Again, some miss micro. MaNa, he might just win it here and now. Game is all that MaNa needs. Oh boy. Whew, okay. Loading into Maganatha here. Have the Brood War Protoss player. We have the Brood War Protoss. We have the blue Protoss. MaNa. We have his opponent. We have player. We have the SE2 Zerg. Go. Yeah, settling in. And hello, the SHIN, he does move out across the map, and we are looking to block here. I say block. Here comes the hatchery. Yeah, hatchery's going to be thrown down and will block the natural. Just catching up in the YouTube chats. Just quickly catching up. How long has TaeJa been back? Around a month and a half to 2 months. Like around that time is how long TaeJa's been. Reiterate, he's only back for StarCraft. StarCraft 1. If you're, sorry, this is a mod. This is a mod that features Brood War versus SE2. So case, and MaNa doesn't have access to SE2 units. Specifically, it's Brood War versus. Here we go. For a 2-gate opener, forced to take the unnatural. Of a shaky, little bit of a messy start here, but SHIN, he even let the hatchery finish just to make, and it will finish. Yeah, the hat. So again, it is on the horizon. SHIN for now is joining. Checking SHIN's vision, he didn't see.
Time to raise your APM.
God damn it, Diva. But SHIN, he didn't scout. Now, he can make the assumption, just because, again, this is just very common, this is very standard, it's very meta, so you can't just assume it's going to be a Reaver drop coming his way. But the queen count is quite low. 2, soon to be 3 queens. And once again, there's a lot of potential with this Reaver drop. Ooh, as MaNa, he can move out with this. Okay. SHIN, he's massing up his lings, going for the Zolnaga tower. Ideally, he will spot the move out. Here comes the first Reaver. We have shuttle speed on the way. Gravitic drive. Here comes a Reaver. Dragoons get spotted. The lings are going to engage with the Dragoons, but here comes a Reaver. Yeah, Reaver scrap shot going to be going off. Takes out one ling. Yeah, just the one. Ooh, more Lings going down. And more Lings going down, and the Dragoons, should be saved. One of them getting low. Nice control. Yeah, nice control. Lings get shut down, and back at them what they have to defend. What is it to defend here? We have a couple of Queens, 0 Zerglings left. They're on the way. MaNa, he's pushing out. And it all comes down to the Scarab shots. If they connect with the Lings, then MaNa can break this third. He can break the expansion. Gets a Queen. Gets a Queen. One Dragoon should fall. Oh, the control though. Say, oh god. There we go. One Dragoon finally goes down, but there's not enough Lings. Yeah, there's not enough Zerglings here. He barely gets a second Dragoon. But alas, every Queen has fallen. The Lings have fallen as well. And he has to evacuate. He has to get the hell out of here. You can see the Reaver. He wants those drones. Oh, does want the drones. Ooh, goes to the Queen. And with that, Shin holds. Whew, Shin, he does hold on. Did cost himself a lot of Zerglings here, but he saves the expansion. He saves the mineral line. Oh, the Lings they're clumping. The Lings do clump. MaNa's still pushing. Oh no! Oh my god. Brutal connections. As we barely... do we get one more shot off? We do. One more shot goes off. Yeah, MaNa, he can just turn and fight. He can turn and fight. And remember, this is all done with one Reaver. Now he has a second Reaver full of HP and full of Scarabs. Yeah, the Reavers are ready. They're stocked up. Pure Link Queen defense, this should not hold. Like, Shin, he's being overwhelmed. He's being overwhelmed here. Again, he's heavily reliant on these Zerglings. You don't want to waste the Scarab shots. Ooh, massive connections. Yeah, the connections are brutal. Lings are going down. The shuttle's getting very low. Oh, the Queen, he wants a shuttle. Oh god, doesn't connect. Shuttle survives, and Shin is being broken. Wow, no back and forth here. I was hoping for a back and forth. Brutal connections. GG gets called, and MaNa, he will overwhelm. He will claim the series 3-0, and he will advance on to the playoffs. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here as Shin, he does tap out. MaNa will claim the series. Again, Link Queen defense is brutal against Dragoon Reaver, as you saw. Now, there are ways to micro against this. We even saw so in previous matches and previous games. Whenever a Scarab shot goes off, it does target a unit. The target is a visual effect, so you can try to pull away the Scarab shot. But we saw that Shin, he for the most part was just collapsing in, and he was losing so many Zerglings. We saw that MaNa was trading so efficiently against that army, and he was just shutting Shin down. Shutting him down. Likewise, Shin, his Queen production was delayed, as a reminder, winding it back because of the unnatural natural and because of the hatchery across the map. The Queen count was very low. It was a very low Queen count, so that was also kind of a factor when it came to that defense. Also did impact that defense, and again, the Scarab shots were brutal. Very efficient trades there from MaNa, and with that, MaNa claims it, does take it, and Shin is out of StarCraft Evolution. Now, this doesn't bode well for Zerg players. Remember, I would say that Shin, he is the best Zerg player in SC Evo. He's #1 Zerg player in SC Evo. He does not make it to the playoffs. He fails here in the round of 16, which means, just like in SE2, we're probably going to see a lot of Protoss and Terran. Just like StarCraft 2, papi. Oh god. We're probably going to see an abundance of Protoss and Terran representation instead, as we have both TaeJa and MaNa making it through. They do make it through here, as we can just catch up on the rest of the bracket. Here we go. We have the rest of the bracket here. We do have TaeJa. TaeJa, he was the first to make it through. He took down Shin. He took down MaNa to make it through into the playoffs in first place. Very impressive play there from TaeJa. And then, of course, we had MaNa taking down Shin to make it through as well alongside TaeJa. Let's go. Let us go. To make it through. 3-point is sick. 3-point, he is going to be the other Zerg player. I mean, I would say the 3-point is top 2 Zerg alongside Shin. True. I would say he's top 2 alongside Shin. So he's going to be kind of like the next Zerg hope to have some Zerg representation in the next round. But we'll see. We'll see if that is going to be the case. Regardless, the regardless, congratulations to both MaNa and TaeJa for making it through. And of course, tomorrow we're going to be back with Group B. That is going to be concluding our broadcast for the morning. If you want a glimpse as to what is going to be featured in Group B, we're going to be featuring Kiwian and Byun, 2 Korean Terran players. And we're also going to be featuring Gumiho and 3Point. So 3 Terrans and 1 Zerg. Ooh, 3Point. His DVT is going to be put to the test. Best of luck to 3Point as he is surrounded by Terran. Now, the thing about tomorrow's group is we're going to start showcasing players that don't play StarCraft Evolution. There are a couple of invited players, inviting Korean players that don't really play much SE Evo. I'm referring to Gumiho, Rogue, and Cure. Gumiho, Rogue, and Cure, they do not play a lot of they don't play StarCraft Evolution, so for the most part they're heavily reliant on their SE2 skills more so than their Brood War skills. So that is going to be something to bear in mind, and that might be a weak point for them. Based on what we saw in the score results of the round of 28, we saw that Gumiho, he was playing and relying on his Brood War Terran a little bit more than the others, but Rogue and Cure, they were heavily reliant on just playing SE2 instead, and it did carry them through the group stage, through the initial groups. But this is group stage 2, of course, so we'll be featuring that tomorrow. A lot of TVTs, a lot of TVZs, that'll be tomorrow, of course, in tomorrow's broadcast. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, always a blast to cover some SE Evo. And bam, as you can see, this is our current weekly schedule. As you can see, we have 2 casts a day every single day. Wednesday, we only have 1 broadcast in the morning. But you can see StarCraft Evolution, morning of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. This time, for those 4 days of the week, we have SE Evo. You can see that currently Saturday and Sunday are empty. That is empty temporarily, I should say. Soon to be announced. There should be broadcasts over the weekend, but the event itself hasn't been officially publicly confirmed, so we're not gonna, right now it's empty. Expect it to be full. Expect it to be full, and we'll just confirm, of course. We'll confirm over the weekend. In the coming days, most likely, we'll be updating the graphic with the upcoming broadcast schedule. So again, so don't worry. So if you see this, you might be thinking, yo, is he taking the weekend off? No weekend off. There's going to be casting over the weekend, just to be announced casting over the weekend. Otherwise, again, StarCraft Evolution for most of the week. We have Wardy TV Monday later on tonight. So again, this was the first of 2 broadcasts today. Wardy TV Monday, that's at 8 p.m. KST. That's going to be at 9 p.m. AEST. That is in 8.5 hours. In 8 hours and 30 minutes, this channel is going to be live once again with not StarCraft Evolution, with StarCraft 2. With StarCraft 2, with Wardy TV Mondays, that's a weekly open tournament. Likewise, we also have OC King of the Hill, the Pondcast, Lily Cup, and Pegasus Cup as well. And again, to be announced events over the weekend. To be announced. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate the support as always, and again, we'll see you guys either in 8.5 hours for tonight's broadcast, or we'll see you tomorrow in less than 24 hours, in around like 21 hours, in around 21 hours time. We'll see you tomorrow for some more SC Evolution. We'll see you then. We'll see you then for some more casting. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. We'll find someone to send everyone over to. Let's go. Who's live? Who is live? Let's have a look here. Patches is live. Adobe Kenobi. Draconics. True. We might just give some love to Draconics. He's our boy. Tempted. Pig, he's streaming. Mechabellum. Nina has a lot of viewers. Typically, we try to raid smaller streamers. But we'll see. We'll find someone to send everyone over to, so give them some love, give them some support. Otherwise, again, you can see our schedule. If you want to watch some more StarCraft, if you see something that you like here, but if you can't watch it live, say maybe you're going to be busy with work tomorrow, maybe you want to watch some more SC Evo, but you can't watch it live, or maybe you want to watch some Wardy TV Monday, but you can't watch it live either, then hey, check out our socials. Check us out on YouTube specifically. Again, we are live on YouTube on a daily basis. We stream to YouTube and to Twitch and to TikTok and to Kick and to Facebook, and VODs are stored on YouTube. The VODs are all on YouTube, we upload on YouTube on a daily basis, so there's plenty of content on YouTube. So if you miss something live on Twitch, bam, you can watch it on YouTube instead. And watch it. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. And we'll see you guys next time. Until then, ciao. Papi, ciao. See you next time. Hasta luego.